Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is John Dean. I'm the Connecticut DOT project manager for the proposed project to realign the Route 8 southbound exit 34 off-ramp at Watertown Ave and Robbins Street. So before we get started, I just want to say we're at a very early stage in the project. It's still in a conceptual phase, so no decisions have been made yet to move forward with this project, but any input that you have at this point would be welcome. So I do just want to say we do have Spanish interpretation on hand if anybody would like. You want to just say?
Good evening. This meeting will have Spanish simultaneous interpretation available. Please raise your hand if you need interpretation and the interpreter will provide you with that device. Buenas noches. Esta reunión tendrá interpretación simultánea al español. Por favor, levante la mano y la intérprete le entregará un dispositivo.
So for tonight's agenda, we'll introduce the project team. We will talk about your civil rights under Title VI. We'll talk about the Connecticut Environmental Policy Act. And we will then talk about, give an overview of the New Mix program, of which this project is an early action breakout. And then we'll get into the details of this proposed project. We'll talk about where it's located, the need for the project, and the proposed design. Finally, we'll get into the public outreach and next steps, and then we'll have time at the end for question and answer. So real quickly, the project team from the Connecticut Department of Transportation, Mike Calabrese is the Division Chief of Highway Design. Neil Patel is the Principal Engineer of the Major Highways Unit. Again, my name is John Dean. I'm the project manager. Joe Belrose is the project engineer. HNTB Corporation is the consultant that's leading the project design. Rudy Franciamore is the project manager. David Schweitzer is the technical advisor. Dave Giel is the traffic engineer, and Sam Scharf is the project engineer. So under Title VI, that designates that no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participating or subject to discrimination in development of this project. I do want to just make note that we do have flyers available with more information. We can get these links to you online. There's also a demographic survey if you'd like to participate. And finally, we do have these notices available in Spanish and other languages as well. So now I'll hand it off to Kevin Fleming to talk about the Connecticut Environmental Policy Act.
Thanks, John. Hey, everybody. Thanks for being here tonight. My name is Kevin Fleming, and I'm a transportation planner at the DOT in the Office of Environmental Planning. As John mentioned, we're here tonight for a joint public informational and SEPA scoping meeting. What exactly does that mean? Well, SEPA is short for the Connecticut Environmental Policy Act, and it provides a standardized process for the various Connecticut state agencies to follow to identify and review any action that may have a significant effect on the environment. It also allows us to evaluate alternatives that may avoid or minimize potential impacts. And since SEPA is, at its core, a public process, a really important component of it is your opportunity to provide feedback. So your feedback here tonight and throughout the entire public comment period, which expires on Thursday, November 30th, is a really critical aspect to the overall SEPA process. So as you can see here, under SEPA, we have to consider a really wide range of environmental resources. Although this isn't necessarily an all-encompassing set of what we have to look at, you sort of get the idea that we have to look at a really wide range, everything from impacts to cultural resources and wetlands to public health and safety, and impacts to environmental justice communities. Actually, in the case of this project, since federal funds are anticipated, we also have to adhere to the National Environmental Policy Act as well, or NEPA. All right, so now that you have the very brief 101 version of what SEPA is and the types of resources that we have to consider, what exactly is meant by the term scoping under SEPA. As shown here, SEPA scoping is defined as the gathering and analysis of information that a state agency will use to establish the breadth of environmental review of a proposed project. So basically what that means is it's a way for us to gather information from the public and all the other state agencies to really inform us of the type of environmental review we have to conduct, and also the various types of environmental documentation needed for a project. So the SEPA public scoping process begins once we publish a notice of the project in the Environmental Monitor, and that kicks off a minimum 30-day public comment period. For those of you who don't know what the Environmental Monitor is, it's an online publication run by the Connecticut Council on Environmental Quality, and it informs the public of all the different projects from state agencies that have to go through the SEPA process. For this project, the scoping notice was published on Tuesday, October 17th, and the comment period, as I mentioned, will run through the close of business on November 30th. As I mentioned, the idea is to solicit comments to help identify any potential alternatives, and also to help identify any specific environmental resources that need to be analyzed in the project area. Obviously, as you know, often the local community has a really unique understanding of the project area, including any community concerns or issues that we just might not be aware of. And ultimately, this process will help us determine if significant environmental impacts are associated with the project or not. If there are, we're required to undertake a formal environmental impact evaluation, or an EIE. And an EIE is a detailed and comprehensive document that analyzes any significant impacts and compares the impacts of any alternatives considered for the project. So just really quickly to wrap up, here's obviously a very high-level overview of the SEPA process. Shows where we are currently, and those are the boxes outlined in red, if you can see the red. And then it also shows what the next steps are under the SEPA process. So after the scoping period ends, we'll go ahead and review all the comments we received. We'll reply to comments, we'll consider any potential environmental impacts, and then go ahead and determine if any of the potential impacts if any of the impacts have the potential to be significant. Then once that determination is made, the determination itself and the justification behind it will be published in the Environmental Monitor, along with a synopsis of the comments that we received and our responses to those comments. This will inform the public that we have either concluded the SEPA process or will be doing further analysis in the form of an EIE due to the presence of significant impacts. So that's just really the high-level overview of the SEPA process. So thanks, everybody. I'll hand it off to David.
Thank you, Kevin. So what we're here to talk about tonight is this breakout project, which is coming off of the New Mix project, which is for the replacement of the interchange in the year 2045. Now, this isn't to be confused with the ongoing rehab project. That rehab project is going to add 20 years of service life to the interchange. So while we are planning out the New Mix and creating this master plan for it, those bridges will stay in place and be serviceable. But what we're looking at for this replacement is we're looking for a long-term plan for the future of the Mix Master. We're going to analyze rehab and replacement options so that we can modernize this interchange. We'll improve the safety and function of both the interchange and the local roadway network that operates around the interchange. We'll look to reduce congestion, and we also want to make sure that we're aligning with any community plans and with any of the economic development that's going on within the city. Now, as I said, this is a master plan, and we'll have projects that are going to occur over time. And we have three types of these projects. We have the early action projects, which are standalone improvements to the highway or the local roadway network, and one of those is what we're going to talk about tonight. Then we'll also have, later on, we'll have near-term projects, which are more improvements to the highway up on the legs away from the core of the interchange. And then we have the long-term project, which is right at the core of the interchange. So with these early action projects, as I stated, they're smaller, standalone improvements to the highway or the local roadway network. They're intended to improve safety and traffic operations. They've been coordinated with the City of Waterbury, and we have a review process that's separate from how the new mix is looked at. So with that, I'll introduce Rudy Francimori, who's going to talk you through the project we're here to discuss tonight.
Thank you, David. The project location that we're talking about tonight, the extents of the project start at Aurora Street, where you have the exit 35 on-ramp, and the southernmost limit of the project is West Main Street. The westernmost limit of the project is just shy of Grandview Avenue, and on the east, the project limit is just past or just shy of the Naugatuck River. The project need, the reason why this came up, it was, West Main Street was identified in a needs and deficiency study report that was conducted, that it's an area that has high congestion and high crash locations. West Main Street is the primary east-west crossing of the Naugatuck River, other than 84. It starts at the ridgeline of Waterbury on the west, and it continues through Waterbury into the downtown area. We have severe congestion at certain times of the day along this corridor, and we've identified 3 intersections along West Main Street that are high crash locations. Riverside Street at West Main Street and Watertown Ave at West Main Street. And then just to the west of those 2 intersections is Highland Avenue, the Highland Avenue intersection. So let's take a look at the West Main Street at Riverside and Watertown Ave. Again, a high congestion area. We have the dual approach of the exit 34 from Route 8 southbound, combining with Watertown Ave southbound, creating that dual approach at West Main Street, creating a very inefficient traffic signal that contributes to the congestion. And very poor eastbound, westbound alignments. It does not enhance that driver anticipation, again, creating additional congestion. And it's also a high crash location, and I'll get into this in a future slide. West Main Street at Highland, this is the intersection about 350 feet just to the west of Watertown Avenue southbound. Currently, it's a stop control situation, and again, it's a high crash location. The project goals: improve safety on West Main Street between Highland Ave and Riverside Street, traffic operations along the stretch of West Main Street, as well as the air quality by the reduction of the idling cars. So now I'm going to get into the proposed concept. These next few slides are going to be divided. First, I'm going to talk about the local road improvements, and then I'm going to talk about the improvements that we are looking at for Route 8 southbound. The project limits, the main part of this project is relocation, the relocation of exit 34 from its current location at Watertown Avenue to just opposite of Robbins Street. And in doing that, we would be removing the old ramp, creating a two-way or a bidirectional Watertown Avenue, and removing that northbound connector of Watertown Avenue. We're also going to be proposing 4 new traffic signals at Robbins Street, the new one at Highland Ave, and the 2 on Watertown Avenue. I'm sorry, West Main Street. We're also going to be providing pedestrian accommodations, as well as providing pavement restoration and new pavement markings throughout the project limit.
To me, we can leave this up later if you want to look. So my address is there. We also have a project hotline, the phone number 203-805-8018. Again, we can leave this up. It'll be on our website as well. We have also a project dedicated email and a comment form Again, all of this can be found on our website, newmixwaterbury.com. And so now we'll take any questions that anybody might have. Yes, sir. Yeah, so you're going to, under the proposed condition, so the question is if you're coming down West Main Street, if you're heading toward the hospital right now, you would take a right turn, go up this northbound leg of Watertown and come under the highway, and there's just a stop controlled intersection here, and you'd go across onto Robbins Street. So in the future, you would have to go through this intersection here. Watertown Avenue is going to be entirely on the west side. So you would have to come up here to another traffic signal to get onto Robbins Street. Yes. So the question is, have we looked at drainage yet? So at this point in time, we haven't really put pen to paper, but as part of the design, we would certainly be looking at drainage. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's great info to have. Yeah, thank you. Sure. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so the alignment still has some challenges here when you're heading under the bridge. So you're talking about crossing the river up here? Yeah. Oh, there you go.
We are using the appropriate angles coming through here for the design speed, but everything does neatly line up. This would be no, unfortunately. This would be proposed to be a raised island. Oh. No. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is definitely an improvement from the way it is, and because we are forcing people further to the right with this raised island, that was the other point of the raised island here, is to force them over to the right, and then we're channelizing them with just a painted island here to get further over to the left for the left turn, and the two throughs will line up much better. At this point, because it is concept, we haven't gotten to that part yet. One of the ideas is to remove those bridges entirely. That does pose a little bit of a traffic challenge to do that. There are methods of filling under the bridge, but then you still have the bridge structures themselves. So exactly. So we're looking at all the best alternative for that. But we do yeah, well, yeah, we're going to put it'll be a rotary on Route 8. Southbound. I'm kidding. But that topic of what happens to that void underneath the bridge, that is a huge concern, and it will not go unaddressed. Any other questions?
Okay, well, thank you everybody for your time this evening. We'll be around for a little while if you have other questions, and again, on your flyers, you'll find all the links and where to go if you have comments in the future. So, thank you.